Hi, and welcome to my sewing room. I'm Leah, and I'm excited to show off my week 4 recap of my UFO challenge. So let's take a look at how much I got accomplished. I managed to make some solid progress this week, even though the first day didn't go as planned. On Tuesday night, snow started to fall, and on Wednesday morning when I woke up, there were several inches of snow. Where I live, snow is a rare occurrence, and when it does fall, it only lasts for a day. And when I saw that this forecast for the day was full sun, I decided to spend my time outside in the snow than in the sewing room. As a result, I didn't get any work done on my UFO, but the time was definitely well spent. I built me a cute little snowman and played around with the dogs out in the backyard. It was a lot of fun. Now on day 2, I got down to business. I spent 37 minutes finalizing the layout and sewing my first row. Even though I missed sewing Wednesday, I felt this was a solid start to the week. On day 3, I really got into a rhythm. I spent an hour and 30 minutes sewing together row 2 and row 3, plus part of the bottom section. I even got part of the top rows sewn together. And by the end of this day, the project was definitely moving along. And I felt like I was getting closer to my goal from last week to sew half the rows. Saturday was another focused day. I spent an hour and 3 minutes working on the top section, along with rows 4 and 5. The top part of the project was looking better and better, and I felt good about the progress I made. Sunday was a great day for sewing. I dedicated an hour and 7 minutes, and I worked on sewing rows 6 through 9 together. I also auditioned and picked out a nice light blue fabric for the outer border and the edge pieces. The fabric I picked was light enough and reminded me of the snow that's in this project already. I like it when I finally get the border fabric picked out, because then I can start cutting little end pieces and sew them to my rows, and then that's when the quilt top starts coming together. On Monday I was still on a roll, but I kept it short and sweet. I cut out those edge pieces and sewed a couple onto the top and the bottom, and I worked on that bottom row right underneath the panel. On Tuesday, I had to keep it right at 15 minutes because I knew I had some other projects that have deadlines coming up. I set my alarm and I hit stop, but I was able to finish sewing the bottom section all together right underneath the panel, and I got to sew a few seams from the top section right above the panel. So when you add up all the time, I spent 5 hours and 1 minute on my UFO project this week. That's the most time I've spent on any UFO project since I started. And I got a lot done, even though I missed a day. I spent a couple hours on some days, but even in those shorter snippets, I still feel like I got a lot of progress done on the project. Next week, the goal is to get these half hexagons sewn into their rows. We'll see how far I get, because next week I won't be able to have such long sessions like I did this week. I have 2 projects that I need to work on that have deadlines. So I'll probably be sticking to my 15 minutes for most of the days. And each row takes about 10 minutes to sew, because you have to sew the hexagons, trim the little dog ears on the triangles, and then press them. And I like to press them open because I have a lot of seams coming together, and that takes a little bit longer to press open. But we'll see how far I get, but I'm still going to stick to at least 15 minutes a day. Well, that's a wrap on week 4 recap. And if you're working on it, finishing up your UFOs, I hope this inspires you a little bit to keep going, even if it's just a little bit every day. As always, thanks for following along. And I'll see you next week for my week 5 recap. Happy sewing!